Hey guys, we have a crazy weekend of energy going on this weekend. We are just like jam-packed loaded with aspects and transits that are playing out. Specifically on Sunday, okay? This is the day where we are really just all over the place. There are tons of moon aspects going on. We have Mercury square Neptune exact. We have Mars squaring Uranus exact. This is explosive, you guys, and there's an element of what is playing out that we just can't wrap our mind around, that we don't understand, that we're having a hard time processing. Watch out for dishonesty. Watch out for deception. This type of stuff could sort of be running rampant in the energy this weekend, or just not understanding why someone didn't show up, why plans changed, why what you thought was happening just isn't happening, or why, there is a need to sort of radically alter some relationship or some just component of your life in the energy this weekend. This is also a weekend bringing through a grand trine in water signs, South Node, Sun, Saturn retrograde, moving on from something, releasing something. We could have some heavier vibes going on to start the weekend, but we also have double nodal activations, North and South Node being activated by both luminaries, double luminaries, sun and moon simultaneously. We're moving on from something. We are energetically cord cutting this weekend. It could be happening though in some type of unexpected, shocking, explosive, dynamic type of way though, and things may not seem all that clear or all that coherent or make all that sense to us. So all of that being said, let's get into our report of the weekend. Let's look at this energy in a little bit more detail, see how things may be coming together for us, perhaps in the context of this energy that we have playing out and incoming this weekend. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Friday, June 23rd, 2023. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the weekend, where we are going to look at the astrology energy of the weekend. So we're looking at June 23rd through June 25th, 2023. And I've been sort of pondering all morning on how I was going to present this information. I'm going to try to do it in as like coherent and streamlined a way as possible, but there's so much to talk about. I feel like I should start with Sunday, actually, for this report for the first time ever on a weekend video, and like work my way backwards, because really, I mean, there are kind of significant things playing out every day, but the emphasis this weekend really is on Sunday, and I feel like maybe if we understand first what this is building into, then as we, go through the energy on Friday, it might give us a greater context in terms of the things that are playing out, because there's like a huge level of like divine alignment, divine intervention, divine timing. We have like a double nodal, double luminary, the sun and the moon activation. This is kind of rare, happening on Friday. And so, things are likely to be happening in a specific order, but that energy is leading and building into Saturday. And then of course Sunday, where we do have like all the big show happening. So I feel like if we talk about the big show first, then by the time that we get to the energy for Friday, that energy might make a bit more sense in terms of like what it's turning into or what it's leading into, what it's ushering us into. So like I said, I've been sort of like thinking about how I want to do this morning, and I apologize in advance if I am a bit all over the place. We've got Mercury and Neptune coming into an exact square in the sky. And for those of us who are ruled by the planet Mercury, Gemini, Virgo, heavy people, the square to Neptune can kind of have us a bit all over the place. So Mercury's about communication. Mercury is about, logical, linear, forward-moving communication, thoughts, and information. The square to Neptune, this is also a vibe this weekend, can sort of bring in a level of distortion, disorientation, confusion, an inability, like going off on tangents, and an inability to get the thoughts and the words out properly. So there's my disclaimer. That being said, I am putting full effort into staying on task and staying on track in this video, because there's lots of important information. I do feel like, we're always on this channel talking about how energy is unfolding, in our daily lives on a day-to-day basis, but from the overhead view or like the elevated perspective of what that, you know, shift within us or in our experience is doing, kind of in the greater context of the larger changes that are happening within us on these frequency-based levels right now, as we are as a collective transitioning ages into the age of Aquarius. And this is, you know, the Great Awakening. This is a conscious awakening. This is the shift of the ages. This is a paradigm shift that happens on a frequency-based level, and it happens as above, so below. You know, the changes are activated by these planetary bodies and their frequencies hitting, you know, certain codal patterns that like activate frequencies within us that cause us to make changes that over time turns into the new behaviors that are the foundations for these incoming ages, this incoming paradigm. So, you know, we are very much like immersed in that process now, and the activations as they're coming through are playing like stronger and stronger and more significant and tangible roles in being catalysts for that process right now. And as Pluto moves into the sign of Aquarius coming into 2024, 2025, like we're really gonna start to palpably discern that these changes have begun to take place in our physical 3D reality, and this energy is prepping us for that and moving us in that direction. And this is another weekend, okay, where these like codes are being activated that are creating these subtle changes within us that are leading to these larger changes that are moving us forward in that direction. And of course, you know, I should say that like the goal of the changes happening right now has a lot to do with realigning us to like our authentic truth, our authentic potential, our true value, and helping us to see and discover that, and to, you know, derive the sense of self-empowerment that comes from that, and then to use that to cultivate something, to align with a purpose, to activate a higher destiny. Okay, so I'm already feel like I'm getting off on a tangent. Bringing it back, energy this weekend, it's changing us, okay? We are in 2023, ultimately very transformative year, bridge year in this process that I've been talking about. And, you know, the energy that's happening now, it's like activating codes, turning keys that are contributing to this frequency-based shift, this inner transformation, okay? So Sunday, big day, lots of energy, okay? And, you know, we're building into this energy all weekend, of course, and we have been to some extent throughout the course of the week as well, but we have Mars and Uranus coming into a square exactly on Sunday in fixed signs. This is very, very powerful. There could really be some big things happening that are sort of leaving us speechless, confused, disoriented, or a combination of both, because this Mars-Uranus square, this is not happening in isolation. We simultaneously on Sunday have another really huge aspect that's playing out, and that is another square. Actually, it's a T-square as a result of the moon's position as well, with Mercury in Gemini, Neptune in Pisces, the moon in Virgo. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. Mercury in the sign of Gemini, Neptune's the ruler of Pisces. Neptune in the sign of Pisces. This is a very strong and disorienting square that really skews our judgment, really skews our ability to perceive things clearly and logically and coherently, really like provides a fertile environment, okay, for, you know, illusion and deception and like fears also to sort of cloud our judgment. And I will say Neptune and Pisces, one of the octaves of this energy is definitely, I mean, Neptune, Pisces, this is energy that washes things away. It dissolves things. It's, you know, avoidance can be a major tendency when we've got this energy strong. And with this square, squares bring conflict. We've got two squares playing out between Mars and Uranus, and between Neptune and Mercury, and also the moon. There could be definitely people that are just like cutting ties and dipping out, okay? Like this is very much like ghosting energy, like just vanishing act, disappearing, like people not following through on commitments, people not following through on plans, people not showing up for things, and with no explanation, with no communication, with no, again, like clear, coherent, rational reason that's presented as to like why this behavior is taking place. With a combination of Mars and Uranus, this energy seeks to be uninhibited, okay, in sort of like a radical, dynamic, and explosive way. It doesn't want any ties or any bondage to anything that is keeping it from following like its authentic passions and truth, okay? Like this energy does not want to be restrained in any way, especially if it's by something that is suffocating or that is detached from, again, like this sense of passion. Mars in the sign of Leo. Uranus, this is the planet of like authentic freedom, authentic purpose, authentic potential, authentic truth. It's like anything that is suffocating my light, anything that is stealing my life force, anything that is, you know, holding back or interfering or blocking my creative potential, or Uranus in the sign of Taurus, like my path to growth at this point in time, like I'm ready to either, you know, fight in some type of unexpected or, you know, extreme dynamic explosive way against it, or I'm just going to escape from it. I'm just going to vanish. I'm just going to disappear. And with the Mercury, Neptune, Pisces, Gemini square, and the moon in Virgo, like, yeah, like people could be seeking to avoid or to escape from or to just, like I said, this is like extreme ghosting energy with no explanation, with no rationale. Just being done with a situation, disappearing from it, going no contact or something, and not feeling a need to really like explain ourselves, or maybe not even being able to. This is also like, it's not even necessarily like, because it's Uranus that we're dealing with. Uranus makes changes for us that we haven't been able to make for ourselves. And that's why Uranus, especially with Mars, can get the reputation of being a more accident-prone energy. Because, you know, if we are resisting or unaware of or unable for whatever reason to, you know, not be executing on the energy that's rising within us that may be calling us to do something different or to make a change, Mars ruling our action and what we're actually doing in this energy, then universe can come through and use some circumstance or some like accident or some situation or some breakdown, also when we're talking about the square, in order to actually create this breakthrough that is liberating our heart, okay, or liberating us to create, or liberating us to grow, or liberating us to, you know, discover and tap that potential as well. So there's a majorly creative force, I've been talking about this, that is coming through this summer. Like universe is, the creative impulse of universe is like surging through the collective of humanity, seeking expression as we go throughout the course of this summer. And, you know, universe is really seeking to like activate all of us in terms of our, you know, our true potential, and to help us like channel these divine and creative impulses that are trying to come into fruition right now, because we're literally building the new future as the old matrix behind us is crumbling and like dissipating under our feet, eroding and dissipating and disappearing under our feet. There's like new blocks being laid that are the foundation stones of this new world and this new paradigm that are, you know, right where we need to step. But as we like take the weight off the back foot, it's like that part of the world is crumbling away. And that's also, you know, the past and the future in sort of like the crosshairs, and, you know, what we've gained from the past that we're going to apply to the future, but, you know, what are we going to leave behind us as well? All this type of stuff super in the forefront of the energy this weekend. Again, this more so as we begin the weekend, which we will get to, but truly wild energy, okay? Truly wild energy, people seeking freedom in some radical ways, not feeling a need to explain themselves, or some type of like divine intervention, or like, again, like accidents or unforeseen circumstances kind of coming, like crashing in, kind of like a wrecking ball maybe to our plans, and preventing us maybe from being where we're supposed to be, or following through on something in a way that doesn't allow us to, for whatever reason, provide the communication to clear things up. So, you know, don't expect plans to be going necessarily according to plan. I would expect some bizarre, unusual behavior from people. Nobody knows what the hell is going on, and this is just primed for some type of like significant, unexpected, maybe like change or awakening going on. Also, there, like I said, unexpected events could be persuading outcomes of situations, blow-ups, explosions, spontaneous actions, and their consequences. And it's not just this. We also have Venus and the black moon in a very tight conjunction on Sunday. They will be in exact conjunction on Monday. Monday is also going to be a very significant day along these same lines as the energy that we had playing out on Sunday. And I will have a new report out on Monday to introduce us to the energy of the week, to lead us into the week and talk about it. But there's just a lot going on as vibrationally in the field on Sunday. Venus and the black moon together, this is an energy that causes us to really reevaluate our partnerships, our friendships, what we're doing with our money. It causes us to kind of want to rebalance ourselves out internally in terms of our preferences and our desires and who we want to become and who we want to be with, and, you know, what we derive and find like pleasure and enjoyment in and stuff like that, especially in the sign of Leo. So with the Mars-Uranus square, remember, Uranus is in the sign ruled by Venus right now, and Mars is in the sign of the sun. The sun is also in a grand water trine. Now, this is not exact, but this is an energy that is sort of like sweeping through, rinsing through, washing through the background over, you know, the weekend and heading into next week. We've got the sun in the early degrees of Cancer. We've got Saturn retrograde in the early degrees of Pisces, and we've got the South Node in the early degrees of Scorpio, wrapping up our year-and-a-half karmic detox transit of the North Node Taurus, South Node Scorpio. This is a major release. The sun trine water signs on this emotional feeling based level. Saturn retrograde, that's the past, that's karma, that's fixing things from the past so that we don't struggle with the same issues going forward. And the South Node, this is also the past. This is everything that's toxic to us. This is everything that's been we've been attaching to, that's been stealing our power out of any lack of recognition of our true power within, or our value, or our worth, being doing a lot of the same, bringing up a lot of the same issues that the black moon with Venus and Mars this week and this past week, I talked about it a lot in my solstice video, have been bringing up for us, especially, you know, what have we been attaching ourselves to? What aspects of ourselves have we been surrendering to receive some type of external validation or to feel safe or secure somehow? And what are we realizing that we no longer need to have in our lives anymore along those lines, because we are taking back this power, because we are rediscovering our value, because we are rediscovering our truth, we are rediscovering our authentic purpose, and, you know, being re-inspired and motivated to create along those lines. We've got a super creative summer coming in, you guys. Like I said, the creative impulse of universe is seeking expression through the exhibitions of man. Okay, we're all mediums for the divine creative impulse over the course of this summer, trying to really help us lay these new productive solid foundations, building the path that we are walking towards this age of Aquarius, towards this new relationship to ourselves and to our higher selves and to our potential and to our experiences in this reality as a result. And this is also being demonstrated in the energetic field right now, as we still have the sextile going on between Jupiter in the sign of Taurus, Saturn retrograding in the sign of Pisces, and Jupiter is still in a relative conjunction to the North Node. The future is represented by the North Node. Jupiter is expansion, Jupiter is truth in the sign of Taurus. This is whatever we're building, whatever we're working on, whatever potential is being tapped right now, it will be done so in a way that is fruitful, that is successful, that is abundant, and that is secure. Also in the sign of Taurus, that is like fixed, because we're talking about this fixed energy. It's not going anywhere. These are permanent changes happening now that are changing the framework of our reality moving forward. But there's a massive aspect of release and letting go that is also fundamental in that process. And that is one of the things that is coming through this weekend, this karmic release coming through this weekend as well, with this grand trine water energy playing out. Now, also, there's more. The moon is just so active in the energetic field on Sunday. The moon in the end of Virgo, I've already said, forming an opposition to Neptune in Pisces, forming a square to Mercury in Gemini, setting up this T-square, but the moon is also forming a trine to Pluto in the end of Capricorn. This whatever is going on, whatever we need to liberate ourselves from, whatever is changing, whatever is shifting, whatever we're feeling compelled to conquer or to release, whatever random situations we find ourselves navigating or being excluded from as well. This could also be, you know, being saved by rejection. Like that could also be rejection type of energy could also be strong, and that actually being a blessing, blessings in disguise. Like all of this type of stuff, the moon, though forming the trine, earth signs, is having a very transformative effect on us, on our emotional body, on an internal level, in a way that is truly, again, like burning down. It's the phoenix energy. It's death and rebirth. It's, you know, the end of one era of the way that we've related to ourselves and others and our perception of our own value and our own potential and how we've navigated reality in our own conscious and unconscious mind, and, you know, all of that. But all the meanwhile, we're like birthing this new version of ourselves that is like up another like rung on the evolutionary spiral of like this incoming frequency and energy that is pulling us forward towards this new paradigm individually and collectively. So it's we've just got a lot of shifts, changes underway. These are moon aspects that are happening. Also, it's happening on a very deep internalized level. It is driving action. Okay, Mars is our action, Mars is our energy. People acting weird, people doing just like bizarre, unexpected things that are like unusual and out of character. Again, because of the square, probably not a whole bunch of coherent conversation going on. Again, be aware that there is a stronger than normal aptitude in the field for deception, dishonesty, lying, manipulation, projection, over idealizing, fantasizing, and perceiving perhaps it as actual true fact and logic. Cognitive dissonance could be very strong right now, an inability to perceive reality for reality. There could also, you know, with this Mercury Neptune square with the moon coming in Virgo as well in the opposition square, this could be like mental issues. There could be very high anxiety going on. Uranus and Mars, this is an energy that barely touches the ground. This is like lightning fast, lightning speed energy. Uranus can be a more anxiety provoking vibration and frequency. Mercury Virgo also is more prone to this like a sense of anxiety. So there could be just like nervous tension in the air in some pretty significant ways. But it's all centering on, in my opinion, really this Venus black moon energy, like needing to, and it makes sense because Mars is there too. Mars is in that conjunction too. It's like we can no longer like accept anything that is suffocating our light or that is stealing our power or that is keeping us attached to the shadows, like not letting us grow. And we're just not having it anymore. And it's like people are ready to like take some radical, unexpected actions to like not have to conform or to not have to follow through on things that may have been suffocating to the heart and to the soul and to the life force. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with. Okay, that's what the energy for Sunday is working towards. There's also, you know, just some crazy symbolism going on Sunday. We have the sun at 4 moving to 5 degrees of Cancer. Those are some interesting symbols. 4 degrees of Cancer, a cat arguing with a mouse. We want to watch needless disputes where there's no winner and we're just sort of arguing for the sake of arguing. Like, don't get into it with people. There could honestly be like uncontrollable, like rage, you know what I mean? Like people just like having very little self-control over their anger responses to things could be acting as a detriment in some situations. So we want to just like not necessarily try to like stir pots and stuff like that. 5 degrees of Cancer, that Sabian symbol is an automobile wrecked by a car. So, you know, we got to watch out. We got to slow down. We want to use caution. We want to use care. Like things might seem like a literal kind of like train wreck throughout the course of this weekend. But again, and you will see, you know, we will talk about as we get through this report that this is part of a process that is of a divinely aligned nature, and we need to trust that process. We also have this Mercury Neptune moon square going on at 28 degrees of Virgo, Gemini, and Pisces. Those Sabian symbols, 28 Virgo is a bald-headed man who has seized power. 28 Gemini is a man declared bankrupt. And 28 Pisces is a fertile garden under the full moon reveals an abundance of full-grown vegetables. So, you know, this has a lot to do with maybe like some secrets revealed, seeing what's really been going on under the surface of things, seeing what our efforts have really turned into. Have they turned into, you know, something that is abundant and something that is fruitful, or do we really kind of need to cut our losses and start over and go in a new direction because what we had been putting our time and energy and investment into before was not paying off? This is a fresh chance, a fresh start to take back our power. A bald-headed man who has seized power, to take back our power and to start something new that can lead to that like fruitful development. Okay, it's also interesting the positions of Mars and Uranus, 22 degrees of Leo and Taurus. 22 Leo is a carrier pigeon fulfilling its mission, and 22 Taurus is a white dove flying straight and fearlessly over troubled waters. So this is a successful mission. Like, whatever awakening that we need to come to, it's happening. Like, we're getting the memo. Like, we are picking up what universe is putting down. We are understanding the assignment, okay? And we just need to trust the process. We need to not have fear. You know, we need to not look down necessarily. We need to not look back. We need to trust that we are, as long as we are, you know, doing things right, as long as we are staying in alignment with our higher selves and being honest first and foremost. With Saturn retrograde, you guys, like, honesty really pays right now. Like, this is where, like, this is a karmic reckoning. This is where it's like a life review, sort of. Like, that's sort of like the energy collectively we have going on this weekend, where we're being given the opportunity to like look back at like what we've done and what we've created, and to like analyze what was good, what wasn't, what worked, what didn't, what could I have done better, and how can I use this data that I'm extracting from my experiences thus far to do things better in a way that are going to heed me like much better and more productive and more successful and more fulfilling and joyful results going forward. The past and the future really like at odds with each other, and also working together this weekend in terms of helping us to extract the wisdom gained from the past and apply it in productive ways to move us forward. So anything that we can do, I will tell you guys, you know, when we're dealing with a Mars-Uranus transit, we want to be active in a process of change. Anything that we can do this weekend to engage our energy in shifting things in a way that liberates us somehow, this is us participating with the energies, participating with universe, surrendering to the natural flow right now, which is likely to keep us out of the more accident-ridden tendencies of this energy as well, because Uranus makes the changes that we haven't been able to make for ourselves. If we are actively participating in the process of making the changes to remove situations that are limiting or blocking our freedom of expression or movement or creativity or like love or whatever, in whatever way, this is gonna work out for us in a much better way than not. So that's what I'm gonna say for the energy for Sunday. And that is really, again, like what it's all about, okay, as we are moving through the energy this weekend and moving towards next week as well. Now let's talk about the energy for Saturday, I guess we'll go Sunday, Saturday, and then Friday. Now, Saturday is sort of like a pause day in the energy. We don't have any exact activations going on Saturday, but we do have this very karmic energy that is playing out mostly as a result of this grand water trine. We've got Saturn retrograde. Saturn is the lord of karma. Saturn is the lord of time. Saturn rules the past, going backwards, right? This is going back over the past. And then we've got you know, the relative trine to the south node, early degrees of Scorpio. What are we detaching from that has been stealing our power and keeping us blind, keeping us from, you know, being able to see and perceive the real truth of our value and gain a sense of internalized empowerment from that. And then the sun transiting the early degrees of Cancer. This could be bringing up themes of home, family, self-care. Like, what do we need to feed our soul and nurture our soul on these deeper levels? So this is a trine. This is facilitating things. This is universe helping us to sort of realize what we need to prioritize, what we need to be more committed to, what we need to be more responsible about in order to release ourselves from those past situations that were not feeding our soul, that were not nurturing us on those soul levels, or that were not benefiting you know, our family or our home or our connection to our family, or, you know, things also to do with the mother, things to do with children. So this grand trine is another dimension this weekend of energy that is coming through. It's really working to release blockages to our ability to move forward into this new era of our lives. So, you know, again, in the context of all of this energy that's coming through this weekend, it could also be sort of like an itch that is coming up to like move on from something. And we're finally done from something. Like, we've come to the end of something and like, I'm just ready to go. And I don't even feel a need to say goodbye at this point in time. Again, like playing into that energy coming up on Sunday. So this water energy, this emotional energy, this emotional release, there could definitely be like past things coming up. And as we get into Friday, once I start talking about Friday, it is sort of like a heavier energy that we have building, you know, well, especially Friday, but moving into Saturday a little bit as well. But it's really like, as we head into the energy for Sunday, all about rebalancing, reevaluating, reprioritizing what it is, again, that we want. This theme from the Black Moon and Venus coming together, what is good for us, and taking that sudden action to create change. Now, good ways to use the energy on Saturday, especially if we're feeling just like a little bit like emotionally down or caught in like some nostalgia or some regret or some just reminiscing. But the thing is, this is a trine. This is trine energy is going on. It's like, we're okay with it though. The sun is making a sextile to the south, or a trine to the south node, but that also means it's making a sextile to the north node. There is this future focus. It's like, yes, you know, I'm mourning the past, like I'm mourning the loss of what once was, but with the like hope and inspiration for a brighter day and a better future. Like, this is energy where we are not letting the past and our mistakes and our regrets and our failures define the future, even though we really may be having to take a closer look at those mistakes and at those perceived failures and at, you know, where we've, you know, messed up, or, you know, what we sort of maybe like feel bad about or wish we could have done differently in the past. But this is a great day, Saturday, and also just a great weekend generally, like I said, for actively engaging in these changes that have been frustrating us or giving us issues in, especially, you know, Sun and Cancer as well. And the Taurus themes, home, work, projects, family, relationships, getting rid of old things, literally just doing like a sweep for things that are old, that are not serving a purpose, that are attached to maybe like memories and stuff that we'd rather not still have in our energy field, stuff like that. Cleaning, reorganizing, redesigning and reorganizing spaces as well, moving around furniture, opening up the flow, reducing stagnancy, going through old documents or plans or ideas to be maybe re-inspired, or to sort of clear out some clutter, clear out some space for fresh creations and concepts to come through, extracting wisdom through experience, applying it to future plans, revisiting old emotions, and releasing maybe some self-sabotaging beliefs that we've realized maybe we've been holding or harboring, perspective and mindset changes, shifts to our mental frameworks of things as well. In the context perhaps of maybe some new information that we are gaining, or a new perspective that we are arriving at, or some additional context through which we are viewing things right now. But we also need to keep in mind Mercury square Neptune, okay? There is a huge illusion. There's just like a kind of like a fog or a film or an overlay that is glazed across our perception in this energy. So we just want to be very careful that we are seeing things clearly, because nothing is truly as it is. Things are not as they appear when we've got Mercury Neptune energy going on in any type of a square. So, you know, ultimately though, reframing the past in a way that supports the future. This is the best way that we can use the emotional energy that is represented and provided through these trines, this grand trine that we have in water signs with the sun, our life force energy, Saturn retrograde, how we've built things in the past, and how we can make adjustments now to South Node and Scorpio, detach ourselves from things that are stealing our power and keeping us away from our true potential and that which can really bring us like joy, love, and fulfillment on these deeper levels. So what I'm going to say about the energy for Saturday. Saturday is, you know, we're waiting out of the energy from Friday and we're sort of building into the energy for Sunday. So it's sort of like our bridge day of the weekend. Now let's talk about the energy for Friday. This is another significant energy blueprint that we have coming through. This is more of a unique activation we have going on. We have a double nodal, double luminary activation happening in the energy on Friday. Friday is setting us up in some divine alignments, divine intervention, divine timing. Things are happening at the right time, in the right place, according to a higher plan, whether or not we perceive it that way. But, you know, the reason sort of that I wanted to do Friday last is because now when I'm talking about the energy for Friday, as we go through this, we know that it's sort of a setup and leading us into whatever craziness might be going on Sunday. Okay, so we know what perhaps, how perhaps things may be playing out, although, you know, Uranus, expect the unexpected, but Uranus and Mars, I mean, this is a pretty straightforward energy. Like, there's a need to break free from something, and, you know, with the Mercury Neptune, like, this is also pretty straightforward energy. It's totally unstraightforward. That's what we know about it. So we need to trust. This is just telling us, okay, the fact that this is how we are leading into that energy, this is telling us that we need to trust the process underway. And just because we may be perceiving it to be, you know, this, that, or the other, doesn't mean that we are seeing it clearly, doesn't mean that we have any idea what's actually going on. It doesn't mean that this is not a huge blessing in disguise. Is actually going to benefit us tremendously on some greater level moving forward. So we have an energy blast coming through on Friday that is helping us in some way also leading into this weekend to release the past, embrace the future. This has been another huge concept of the vibes coming through and a theme of this entire report, as we know that while we are like undergoing these activations that are causing us to want to like move on from something, move towards something else, there's also an energy coming through that is like having us take some type of like serious spontaneous action to like work towards that means. Okay, so we've got this desire or this understanding, or we're coming to this point or this crossroads where we're ready to move on from something. A double nodal activation, what does that mean? It means by both luminaries nonetheless. The luminaries, these are very important bodies in the sky. This is our sun, this is our moon, this is our soul, this is our spirit, right? This is the, you know, the masculine and the feminine, this is the conscious and the unconscious, this is sort of like the active and the receptive, okay? And so we've got the sun and the moon, like both major facets of our psyche coming into simultaneous trines and sextiles with the north and the south nodes of the moon, and also with each other. The sun and the moon themselves will be in a sextile with each other. The sun is in Cancer, will be in a trine to the south node exactly. Okay, that means exactly a sextile to the north node. The moon in the sign of Virgo will be in a trine exactly to the north node in Taurus, sextile to the south node. So the sun, exact trine to the south node. This is that conscious energy. This is that vital force. This is that active energy in the trine, the facilitating aspect with the past, with what we're releasing, with what we're moving on from. There is a vital push, a vital facilitation of the life force energy to detach from the toxic attachments of the past. And not to mention, I don't know if I've said it or not, but we are culminating right now a 1.5 year long karmic detox process that was was brought to us by the nodal transits of Taurus and Scorpio, North Node Taurus, South Node Scorpio. As we near the very, very end of this transit, here we have both luminaries coming through, activating by trine simultaneously, you know, within and without, conscious and unconscious, soul and spirit, this facilitated release from the past and movement towards the future. So on this conscious active level, there is this release from past karmic patterns that have in any way been toxic to us that is being facilitated. Simultaneously, the moon, right? The moon in Virgo, earth sign, this is our emotions, this is our internal environment, this is what's going on inside of us, our feelings, facilitated trine the north node in the sign of Taurus. This is a facilitated emotional alignment with destiny, with the path ahead, with the next phase of growth, with potential, with value, with the cultivation of that and who we are becoming and what we are growing into now, unrestrained from the toxic attachments and the karmic cycles of the past. So on both, you know, like I said, both levels, like external and internal, soul and spirit, conscious and unconscious, we are releasing the past actively and we are receiving, right? Because the sun, this is the active, this is the action-oriented, assertive, masculine energy. This is actively detaching, while we have the moon, the feminine, the receptive energy, receiving the future impulse in the sign of Taurus, the impulse to create and to build from potential and value, from reservoirs and internal stores of potential and value. Sun trine South Node, an active release from that which has been preventing that growth in alignment with potential and value. So you guys see how that's playing out? So it's like this energy that's coming through on Friday, putting us in that position, could be what causes everything to play out as it goes throughout the rest of the weekend, moving us towards this very dynamic Mars-Uranus square, seeking fundamental, radical, dynamic change, okay, that liberates us on that heart and soul base level and the, you know, this level of disorientation and confusion. Maybe we're not talking about it. Maybe it's not something that's happening like super consciously, or maybe it is happening consciously, but we just don't feel a need to explain ourselves. Or maybe, again, we're not making any changes at all. And it's universe that is coming through and throwing things up in the air for us and putting us in a position where we have no clue what's going on, or we're confused, or we can't communicate, or, you know, we're sort of in a place of like halted in our tracks or something like that, so that these changes and these realignments can take place whether or not we are like actively participating in them, okay? And these are trines. When trines are operating, like things are just sort of happening, things are just sort of falling into place. So things could sort of be happening some way or another that are detaching us from one thing and really like emotionally pulling us towards something else. Now, the energy, I will say, for Friday could also be a bit of a heavier vibe. We may really be immersed in some of these past issues, like I said, feelings of, you know, our past failures, or our past regrets, or our past wrongdoings, or our past just like karmic issues could really be coming up. Mistakes, what we wish maybe we could have done differently, reevaluating as well our values and priorities, maybe as a result going forward. Also, in terms of friends, partners, financial situations, and what we feel is really best for us. Again, moving into this energy that's going to come up Sunday, where we're likely to be taking action to actually detach maybe from anything that we feel like is prohibiting our process of embodying, you know, maybe some of the shifts that are going on in the energy within us on Friday. Lots of themes of the past and past grievances or failures could be surfacing on Friday. Simultaneously, though, this huge future focus on what can be, what I can become, what I can grow into, if only I can just like leave the past in the past and kind of like go in this whole new direction. Remember the position of, I think it was Mercury on Sunday, the man declared bankrupt. So energy, you know, Friday moving through this weekend, cleaning and clearing the way for future growth in a positive direction. Second chances to make the most, okay, out of what we've really got, instead of suppressing who we really are and, you know, what we really have within us in order to receive some type of external validation or, you know, fit in some type of mold or box. We are breaking through all the boxes and the squares this weekend, you guys. Friday, it is sort of like this rare special day with both luminaries in these positive trine facilitating aspects. Again, I do, you know, the timing of this also, like, as we are closing out this 1.5-year karmic detox process, like, we're making progress, you guys. We have let a lot go, and we're being purified on these deeper soul levels and prepared to be this fertile ground for this tremendous growth that is going to try to come in terms of the flourishing of our soul moving forward through this energy as we make these changes. It's, you know, the soul and the spirit, like I said, conscious and unconscious, visible and in hidden, seen and unseen, both simultaneously being impacted in a way that positively allows us to receive the future while actively detaching ourselves from anything that would prevent this process of growth. It's truly like an energetically, how do I say this? An energetic evolution that we are sort of being activated by as this energy comes through this weekend. It's facilitating this process of releasing the past and embracing the future, evolution of both the soul and the spirit. So there's that. And there could also be, you know, based on some of the symbolism that's coming through, there could be themes of threes, okay? Like past, present, and future, body, mind, and spirit, trilogies, trinities, triplicities playing a role somehow. We have 2 Sabian symbols in the energy on Friday talking specifically about threes of something. We have the earth at 2 degrees of Capricorn, 3 stained glassed windows, 1 damaged by war, and we have Mercury at 23 degrees of Gemini, 3 fledglings and a nest high on a tree. So like I said, like triplicities, threes, trilogies, trinities, stuff like that, like could be significant, could be prominent. You could notice something like that. Something along those lines could be playing out in the energy for Friday as well. And we also, the position of the sun as well on Friday, 2 degrees of Cancer, a man on a magic carpet observes vast vistas below him. So, you know, perhaps also as a part of this all that is playing out right now, it really could be maybe this elevated perspective or this expanded understanding of something that, or this bird's eye view, you know, viewpoint that is helping us to release ourselves from the past something and move ourselves forward. Remember, we are also right now in, speaking of magic carpets and a vast vistas below, we are in a new moon cycle that was an exact opposition to the galactic center. So, you know, throughout the course of this cycle, we are likely to gain some type of like vastly elevated perspective on something that is doing just that, opening us up to something that helps us to embrace a level of wisdom and move ourselves forward somehow. So, you know, while we could, with the moon in opposition to Saturn today on Friday, you know, could be this heavy sense of like duty or responsibility that is kind of maybe weighing on us or needing to take things more seriously. It is in a divine alignment. It's meant to support our growth somehow, and we need to view it as such and try not to view everything through like sort of a very critical and pessimistic lens moving into the energy this weekend and what's unfolding, because Uranus is on the table, you guys. Like, ultimately at the end of the day, it is for like whatever's happening is for our highest and our best, and the more positive perspective we can have in the context of what is playing out, the less resistance we are going to face, and the less, again, the more we can positively and actively participate in the energy and the manifestations of that energy that would, or that the actions that would be called forth by the manifestations of that energy, the less we are likely to find universe interfering and meddling in our circumstances in order to make these, in order to, you know, make the changes that need to happen in this energy happen. So that's what I'm going to say today, you guys. This has been, again, a lot of information, really a significant weekend. It might not be like the most fun weekend that we've ever had. There could be, it could be, it's again, it's like serious times, you know, it's like coming to the end of an era. It's like I said, again, like this like life review type of thing, like, and looking back on the past, but it's in the context of this hopeful future that is Saturn and Saturn retrograde and Jupiter in a sextile right now that is promising to be, you know, abundant and productive and successful and stable, secure, fixed, beneficial, but it has to be done right with Saturn retrograde. So, all right, I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to grab us, actually, I'm not going to stop talking. I'm going to grab us a synchronicity card. God, Spirit, Universe, what is a piece of advice that we can use as we're going through this weekend? You know, like it could be a very just all over the place weekend. The Mercury Neptune square, that's just totally hard to call. And I mean, Uranus is as well, but we got the card Focus. And I feel like this is probably quite appropriate advice. Thou will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26:3. Focus your thoughts on God and on that part of you that is God. Tune in on God and his serenity over your life. When you can still your mind and think of God and be at peace in your mind, everything around you will fall into a peaceful routine in your home, life, your business, and all aspects of your life. Stay in this state of mind and you will prosper beyond your wildest dreams. So if things get a little out of hand this weekend, you guys, you know, the advice, the divine counsel is to sort of stay focused, keep the eye on the prize, not allow ourselves to get sort of whipped up in a frenzy of whatever's flying around out there. And also know that this energy will pass and there is just some type of active realignment that has to happen and has to go on in this energy. So that's what we got this weekend, you guys. I hope you liked it. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think they would enjoy, appreciate, be into this type of content as well. Leave me comments, you guys. I love your comments. Thank you guys so much for being here. I sincerely appreciate and value all of you. If you are having experiences that match up, that line up with what I'm talking about in this energy, let me know in the comment section below. I really appreciate and value knowing what is going on with you guys. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, an Instagram. I post this whiteboard if you want to know what it says in my Facebook group, which is in my description box below. So that's where you can find that. And yeah, come back with me on Monday, you guys. We got another, we're going to be talking more about these themes that we talked about on Sunday. As this energy for Monday comes through. So we're gonna, you know, we're already gonna be in this energy, but we're just going to go into a bit more detail about it and talk about how this is leading into what we have coming up next week. So you don't want to miss it, you guys. I will be here. You should be here too, and I will see you then. Have a beautiful weekend. Until next time, bye guys.